Beloved, listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to say is not comfortable, but it is truth. Many people are praying, God, give me more money, but heaven is asking a different question. Can I trust you with increase? God is not about to do something small with your money. He is not planning a gentle change. What God is about to do with your finances will shock you, because it will first shock your thinking. You see, God never changes your bank account before He changes your belief system. Money follows mindset, not miracles. Some of you think money is the problem in your life. No. The problem is the picture you are holding in your spirit. As long as you see yourself as barely surviving, barely managing, barely enough, your money will obey that picture. Because faith works like a spiritual magnet. What you see clearly, you move toward unconsciously. God is about to break poverty, not just in your wallet, but in your imagination. Let me tell you something that will shock you. God is not against wealth. God is against lack of purpose. Money in the hands of fear destroys people, but money in the hands of faith builds nations. That is why God delays some blessings, not because you are unworthy, but because you are still thinking too small. He is training you to think like a steward, not a survivor. Hear this carefully. God does not give money to control you. He gives money to reveal you. When increase comes, it exposes what is already inside. That is why God first works on your heart before He works on your harvest. Some of you are about to experience financial shifts that will confuse people who watched you struggle. They will say, how did this happen? And the truth is, it didn't happen suddenly. It happened spiritually, long before it happened financial. Lie. God is about to shock you by changing how money comes to you. It will no longer come only through sweat. It will come through strategy. It will no longer come only through labor. It will come through ideas. It will no longer come only through effort. It will come through favor. Because when God gets involved, money stops being stressful and starts being purposeful. But listen, this blessing, why? LL demands something from you. You cannot carry a new level of provision with an old level of obedience. God is calling you into a higher discipline, a higher generosity, a higher level of faith. Some of you are about to learn that giving is not loss, it is authorization. When you release, you give heaven permission to respond. And this is what will shock you the most. God is about to bless you. A way that requires you to become wiser, quieter, and more selective. Not everyone will understand your next level. Not everyone deserves access to your next season. God will bless you so deeply that you will finally understand this truth. Money is not your security, God is. When God becomes your source, money becomes your servant. And when money becomes your servant, fear loses its power. Ready? Because what is coming will not just change how much you have, it will change who you become. And when it happens, you will know this was not luck. This was alignment, not chance, but covenant. Before God ever adds numbers to your bank account, He rewrites the numbers in your thinking. Many people are asking God to change their finances, but God is first asking to change their focus. Because money never moves ahead of mindset. Life always moves in the direction of belief. A person can receive money suddenly, but if the thinking remains small, fear-driven, and survival-based, that money will quietly slip away. That is why God works deeper than your wallet. He works on your inner world. Think about a man who earns just enough to survive. Every month a salary comes and every month it disappears. Not because the income is cursed, but because the thinking is limited to just enough. When an opportunity comes to learn a new skill, he says, I don't have time. When a chance to invest appears, he says, what if I lose? God is watching, not to judge, but to teach. Because before He multiplies income, He must first multiply courage. until fear is replaced with faith in God. Ease would only increase anxiety. God changes mindset by changing how you see problems. A poor mindset sees problems as walls. A renewed mindset sees problems as doors. Two people lose their job. One panics, complains, and blames God. The other prays, thinks, learns, and asks, "What is this season trying to teach me?" The same event, but different outcomes. God is not impressed by the situation. He responds to perception. When your thinking shifts from victim to vision, provision begins to move toward you. Look at daily life. A woman goes to the market with a mindset of lack. She keeps saying, everything is expensive, nothing is enough. Even when she has money, she feels poor. Another woman goes with gratitude and wisdom. She plans, chooses carefully, and believes she can manage At the end of the month, one is stressed, the other is at peace. God blesses stewardship, not panic. He blesses clarity, not complaint. Before money changes, awareness must change. God also renews mindset by correcting how you speak. Words are not decoration, they are direction. A person who keeps saying, "Money never stays with me," is unknowingly training their future to obey that comment. God does not override what you constantly declare. When He wants to bless you, He first teaches you to speak differently. Instead of "I can't afford it," He trains you to say, "I will prepare for it." Instead of "I'm bad with money," He teaches, "I am learning to manage well." Faith-filled language creates faith-filled paths. Daily habits reveal mindset. Someone with a renewed mind starts respecting small money. They track expenses. They avoid waste. They delay unnecessary pleasure. Not because they are afraid, but because they are focused. God watches how you treat little amounts, because little amounts are training grounds. If someone mishandles small blessings, large blessings would only amplify disorder. So God patiently reshapes habits before releasing abundance. Think of a student who believes, "I am not smart enough." Even with good teachers, the results remain low. Another student believes, "I can grow." Same classroom, same books, different outcomes. Money works the same way. A growth mindset attracts learning, mentors, ideas, and discipline. God often sends wisdom before wealth. If wisdom is ignored, wealth is postponed. Not as punishment, but as protection. God also changes mindset by teaching purpose. Money without purpose becomes pressure. When someone sees money only as survival, they cling to it. When they see money as a tool, they manage it wisely. A person who understands purpose spends differently, saves differently, and gives differently. God trusts people who understand that money is not identity, not security, not status, but assignment. When purpose becomes clear, provision follows naturally. Many people pray for overflow, but live with chaos. God is a God of order. He teaches planning, patience, and discipline because these are containers for increase. Imagine pouring water into a broken cup. No matter how much you pour, it leaks. Mindset is the container. God repairs the container before increasing the flow. Even delays are part of mindset training. Waiting seasons teach restraint. They teach contentment. They teach wisdom. A person who learns to wait does not panic when money is slow. They remain calm, focused, and prayerful. God values calm faith more than loud desperation. When peace replaces panic, you are closer to increase than you realize. God is not withholding money. He is upgrading thinking. When thinking changes, decisions change. When decisions change, habits change. When habits change, results change. This is how God blesses. From the inside out, money does not chase effort alone, it follows vision. Long before money ever appears in your hands, it first appears in your inner picture. Every person is living out a silent image they carry inside. That image decides how far they will go, how much they will allow themselves to receive, and how they will respond when opportunity knocks. You may not realize it, but your life is already obeying the picture in your spirit. Look at two people working the same job with the same salary. One believes deep inside, this is all life has for me. The other believes this is a step, not a destination. Nothing looks different on the outside, but everything is different inside. When training is offered, one ignores it, the other enrolls. When a new idea appears, one dismisses it, the other explores it. Money begins to flow differently, not because one works harder, but because one sees further. Vision quietly pulls provision toward itself. Every day, people limit their financial future not by their income, but by their imagination. A person who pictures themselves always struggling will unconsciously sabotage progress. They will spend carelessly, avoid planning, and fear responsibility, not because they are lazy, but because their inner picture is small. God cannot override what you keep seeing. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is disciplined imagination aligned with truth. What you consistently see, you consistently move toward. Think about driving a car at night. You may not see the entire road, but you drive as far as your headlights allow. Life works the same way. You only move toward what you can see inside. If your spiritual picture only includes survival, your finances will stop at survival. If your picture includes growth, stability, and purpose, your decisions will slowly align with that image. Money responds to direction, and direction comes from vision. Consider a shopkeeper who sees their business as just a small shop. They open late, close early, and resist improvement. Another shopkeeper sees the same space as a future brand. They reorganize, learn marketing, and treat customers differently. The space did not change, but the picture did. Over time, one shop remains stuck while the other expands. Money ID not reward luck. It rewarded clarity. God often works by upgrading the picture in your spirit before upgrading your reality. That is why new ideas sometimes feel uncomfortable. Growth stretches the inner image. Many people reject ideas not because they are bad, but because they do not fit the old picture. But when the picture expands, behavior naturally follows. You do not need to force success. When vision is clear, success becomes a natural direction. Even fear is connected to inner pictures. Fear shows you a negative image and asks you to believe it. Faith shows you a hopeful image and asks you to walk toward it. The picture you accept becomes the future you experience. A person afraid of loss sees themselves failing before they even begin. A person of faith sees learning, growth, ND recovery even if failure comes. Money moves toward courage because courage creates action. Daily life proves this truth again and again. A student who sees themselves succeeding studies differently. A parent who sees their family thriving manages finances differently. A worker who sees themselves growing invests time in learning. Vision changes attitude. Attitude changes behavior, and behavior changes outcomes. God placed this law in life. What you behold, you become. Some people pray for financial breakthrough, but keep replaying images of lack, debt, and failure. Prayer without vision becomes frustration. God responds quickly to clear vision because vision gives direction to blessing. When you see yourself managing well, giving generously, and living responsibly, your choice is star. See supporting that image. You save more. You waste less. You plan ahead. You become trustworthy with resources before abundance arrives. Even generosity is connected to inner pictures. A person who sees money as scarce holds tightly. A person who sees money as a flowing resource gives wisely. God entrusts more to those who see abundance as purpose, not possession. When your inner picture includes others, provision multiplies. Selfish vision shrinks resources. Purposeful vision expands them. Your environment also reflects your inner picture. Disorganized thinking creates disorganized finances. Clear vision creates order. When you start seeing yourself as disciplined, your habits change. You wake up earlier. You avoid impulsive spending. You choose long-term benefit over short-term pleasure. Money responds to structure because structure protects growth. God does not surprise people with abundance. He prepares them through vision. Sudden money without a strong picture creates confusion and loss. But steady vision creates steady increase. When the picture in your spirit is strong, setbacks do not stop you, they adjust you. Delays do not break you, they refine you. Money follows resilience because resilience is rooted in vision. You are not limited by where you are limited by what you see. Change the picture and the path begins to change. When your spirit starts seeing stability, wisdom, and purpose, your life quietly rearranges to match that vision. Many people misunderstand delay and call it denial, but in God's language, delay is often development. When blessings do not arrive on your schedule, it is not because God has forgotten you, but because He is protecting you. God sees not only what you are praying for, but what that blessing will demand from you once it arrives. Character is the container, and blessing is the content. If the container is weak, the content will be wasted, misused, or become a burden instead of a joy. Think of a child asking or a sharp knife. The parent does not refuse because they are cruel. They refuse because the child is not ready. In the same way, God withholds certain levels of money, influence, and opportunity until your discipline, humility, and wisdom are strong enough to handle them. What feels like delay is actually divine care. God would rather make you ready than make you rich too soon. Look at daily life. Someone suddenly gets a large amount of money without learning self-control. At first, it feels like freedom. Soon it becomes pressure. Relationships change. Stress increases. Regret follows. Another person grows slowly, learning budgeting, patience, and restraint. When increase comes, peace remains. God is not impressed by how fast you rise. He is concerned with how long you can stand. Delay teaches humility. When success comes too quickly, pride often follows. People start believing they are self-made. Delay reminds you of dependence on God. It keeps your heart soft and your spirit teachable. A humble heart can receive correction, guidance, and wisdom. God trusts humble people because humility listens before it acts. Think about someone learning to drive. If they are given full speed, on the first day, danger is guaranteed. They must first learn control, awareness, and patience. Only then does speed become safe. Blessings work the same way. God teaches control before acceleration. If He increases you without control, the very thing you prayed for can destroy your peace. Waiting seasons shape patience. In daily life, impatience leads to poor decisions, impulse buying, rushed investments, emotional spending. God uses delay to train you to pause, think, and choose wisely. A patient person makes better financial decisions. They do not chase quick gains, they build steadily. God prefers slow, strong growth over fast, fragile success. Character is revealed in small things. When money is limited, how do you behave? Do you complain or do you manage wisely? Do you envy others or do you focus on growth? God watches reactions more than requests. If someone cannot be grateful with little, more will not make them grateful. Gratitude is not produced by abundance, it is revealed by scarcity. Delay also exposes motives. Why do you want the blessing? Is it for status, comfort, or comparison? Or is it for stability, responsibility, and purpose? God refines motives in waiting, seasons. He removes selfish desire and replaces it with purpose. When motives are pure, blessings flow without corrupting the soul. Daily life gives many examples. A person who wants promotion but avoids responsibility is not ready. Another takes responsibility even without recognition. When promotion comes, one collapses under pressure, the other thrives. God promotes people who have already practiced the behavior of the next level. Delay is rehearsal. God also uses delay to teach stewardship. Handling small amounts well builds trust. Paying bills on time, avoiding waste, helping when possible, these habits shape character. God does not measure wealth by amount, but by management. Faithfulness in little is evidence of readiness for more. Even relationships are part of character training. Money amplifies who you already are. If you are impatient, money amplifies impatience. If you are generous, money amplifies generosity. God wants blessings to bless you and others, not expose your weaknesses. So He works on the heart quietly while you are waiting. Waiting seasons teach resilience. Life does not always move in straight lines. Setbacks happen, delays happen. A person with strong character does not quit when progress slows. They adapt, learn, and continue. God trusts resilient people with lasting blessings because they do not fall apart under pressure. When blessings arrive after preparation, they feel different. There is peace instead of panic, gratitude instead of entitlement, wisdom instead of confusion. You recognize that the delay was not empty time, it was shaping time. God was building strength where others only saw waiting. Wealth does not create character, it uncovers it. Money is not a transformer of the heart, it is a magnifier. Whatever already lives inside a person, fear or faith, generosity or greed, wisdom or recklessness, money simply turns up the volume. That is why two people can receive the same level of wealth and end up with completely different lives. The difference was never the money, the difference was what was already inside them. Look at daily life. Give a small amount of money to someone who is disciplined, and they will plan carefully. Give the same amount to someone who is impulsive, and it will disappear quickly. The money was neutral. It only obeyed the nature of the person holding it. Wealth reveals habits long before it reveals lifestyle. If someone wastes time, they will waste money. If someone respects time, they will respect money. The pattern never changes. Many people believe if I had more money, I would be happier, kinder, and calmer. But life proves otherwise. A person who is angry with little will often be angrier with more. A person who is generous with little will be generous with more. Money does not heal insecurity. It exposes it. That is why God often watches how you behave in scarcity before allowing abundance. Scarcity is a test, not a sentence. Think about relationships. When money increases, relationships feel pressure. Someone who values people over possessions stays grounded. Someone who values status over connection becomes distant. Wealth reveals priorities. If a person already needs validation, money feeds that hunger. If a person already has inner peace, money becomes a tool, not a trophy. Daily choices reveal inner truth. When extra money comes, do you save, invest, or spend impulsively? Do you help quietly, or do you show off loudly? Wealth gives you options, and options reveal values. God is not afraid of giving you choices. He wants to see what you choose. choices XP. O's character more clearly than circumstances ever could. Consider a worker who complains constantly about lack. If that worker suddenly receives wealth, the complaining does not disappear, it simply changes subjects. Now they complain about pressure, responsibility, and trust. Complaints are not caused by lack, they are caused by mindset. Wealth does not silence inner noise, only growth does. Then generosity is tested by wealth. Some people say, when I have more, I will give more. But generosity is a habit, not a future plan. Those who give a little now will give more later. Those who cling now will cling harder later. Money reveals the truth of what you already practice. Wealth also exposes discipline. A disciplined person does not become reckless with money, they become strategic. They plan, they learn, they prepare. An undisciplined person feels overwhelmed by money. Bills pile up, stress increases, and peace disappears. Money did not bring chaos. Chaos was already present, waiting for opportunity to surface. Think of leadership. When influence grows with wealth, leadership quality is revealed. A humble leader listens and learns. A proud leader dominates and isolates. EY amplifies leadership style. That is why God shapes the heart before expanding influence. Influence without humility damages both the leader and those around them. Fear also shows itself in wealth. Some people hoard because they fear loss. Others invest because they trust growth. Fear does not disappear with money, it finds new ways to express itself. Faith, on the other hand, grows stronger. Responsibility. God wants you to experience peace, not panic at every level. Daily life teaches this lesson quietly. A person who lies in small matters lies in big ones. A person who manages small resources manages larger ones. Wealth simply scales behavior. That is why God values faithfulness in little. Little reveals much. Money also reveals how you see yourself. Someone with low self-worth uses money to impress. Someone with healthy identity uses money to build. Identity drives behavior, and behavior directs money. God does not want wealth to replace identity. He wants identity to guide wealth. Wealth reveals patience. Sudden money tempts haste. A patient person pauses, seeks counsel, and thinks long-term. An impatient person rushes and regrets. Money did not create impatience. It gave impatience room to act. Even gratitude is revealed by wealth. Some people forget God when blessings increase. Others become more thankful. Forgetfulness is not caused by wealth, it is revealed by it. Gratitude, anchored in character, survives every season. Wealth shows who you are when no one is watching. It reveals what you love, what you fear, and what you trust. Money never lies. It follows instruction from the heart, exposing the truth already written there. For many years, you were taught that working harder was the only path forward. Wake up early, sleep late, exhaust yourself, and someday life will reward you. Hard work has value, but there comes a season when God begins to shift you from pure labor to divine strategy. This shift is not about doing less, it is about doing wisely. God never designed your future to be powered only by sweat. He designed it to be guided by wisdom. Labor says, if I work more hours, I will earn more. Strategy says, if I think better, I will multiply what I already have. You can see this in daily life everywhere. Two people may work the same number of hours. One remains tired and stuck. The other grows steadily. The difference is OT effort, it is direction. Strategy turns effort into impact. God begins this shift when He notices that labor alone is draining you instead of developing you. Exhaustion is not a sign of obedience. Sometimes it is a sign that wisdom is missing. Think about a farmer. He can work all day digging the ground, but if he plants in the wrong season or uses the wrong seed, nothing grows. Another farmer works less physically, but studies timing, soil, and weather. His harvest is larger, even though his sweat is less. God is teaching you the same lesson. Hard work without insight produces fatigue. Work guided by strategy produces fruit. Many people are busy but not productive. They fill their days with activity, yet progress remains slow. God begins to speak in this season saying, stop reacting and start planning. Strategy requires pausing, observing, and learning. This feels uncomfortable to those who equate movement with success. But wisdom often grows in stillness. God shifts you from rushing to reasoning. Daily life proves this shift clearly. A person working 2 jobs with no plan stays exhausted. Another person works 1 job but learns a skill, builds a network, or improves efficiency. NC. Over time, the second person advances while the first burns out. God does not honor burnout, He honors alignment. Strategy aligns effort with purpose. This shift also changes how you see problems. Labor-focused thinking attacks problems with force. Strategy-focused thinking solves problems with insight. When something breaks, labor says, work harder. Strategy asks, why did this happen? A. And D. How can it be prevented? God elevates people who ask better questions. God often introduces strategy by slowing you down. He creates moments where pushing harder no longer works. Frustration appears. Doors close. This is not punishment, it is redirection. God is teaching you to stop relying only on strength and start relying on understanding. When strength reaches its limit, wisdom takes over. Even money responds differently in this season. Labor earns money, but strategy multiplies it. Saving, investing, planning, and learning are strategic behaviors. A labor mindset spends as soon as money comes in. A strategic mindset assigns every unit a purpose. God begins to trust people with more when they show they can think ahead. Think of daily household life. Someone who shops without a L, spends more and wastes more. Someone who plans meals saves time and money. The difference is not income, it is strategy. God delights in teaching these small lessons because they prepare you for larger responsibilities. Strategy also changes how you value time. Labor trades time for money. Strategy uses time to create systems. A person who only labors is always busy. A person who thinks strategically creates processes that work even when they rest. God is not calling you to laziness. He is calling you to sustainability. This shift affects relationships too. Labor-focused people try to please everyone. Strategy-focused people choose wisely. They know not every opportunity is from God. Discernment becomes more important than speed. God teaches you that saying no is sometimes an act of faith. Strategy requires learning, and learning requires humility. You must accept that effort alone is not enough. God often brings mentors, books, and experiences into your life during this season. Ignoring learning keeps you trapped in labor. Embracing learning moves you into wisdom. Even rest becomes strategic. Rest is no longer escape, it is preparation. A rested mind thinks clearly. God of. 10 gives ideas during rest, not rush. When you slow down, you hear better. God is shifting you because your future cannot be built on exhaustion. It must be built on understanding. Labor brought you here, but strategy will take you further. Giving is not charity alone, it is a spiritual language. When you give, you are not just releasing money from your hand, you are releasing faith from your heart. Heaven does not respond to need as much as it responds to obedience. Many people pray loudly but give reluctantly. They want heaven to move, yet they keep their hands closed. Giving is the moment your prayer gains action. It is the point where belief becomes visible. In daily life, trust is proven by action, not words. A person can say, "I trust you," but if they never show it, the relationship stays shallow. God works the same way. Giving tells heaven, "I trust why, or you as my source." When trust is expressed, response is activated. Not because God is manipulated, but because faith has been demonstrated. Think of a farmer. He may believe in harvest, rain, and seasons, but if he never plants seed, the field stays empty. Giving is seed. Prayer without giving is like expecting crops from unplanted soil. Heaven responds to seeds because seeds carry expectation. When you give, you are declaring that you believe tomorrow is greater than today. Daily life gives simple examples. A person who tips generously often receives better service next time. A person who invests in learning receives growth. A person who helps others builds goodwill. Giving creates circulation, and circulation attracts increase. Stagnation repels growth. God designed life so that whatever us returns. Many people fear giving because they see money as security. But giving shifts your trust from money to God. Fear says, "If I give, I will lack." Faith says, "If I give, I align." Heaven responds to alignment. When your actions agree with your prayers, power is released. Giving also trains the heart. A generous heart is a flexible heart. A flexible heart can receive more. A closed heart cannot hold increase without cracking. God watches not the amount given, but the spirit behind it. Someone giving a little with faith may unlock more than someone giving much without trust. Daily life proves this. A child who learns to share toys builds friendships. A child who hoards toys ends up alone. Sharing does not reduce joy, it multiplies it. God uses giving to expand your capacity for joy, peace, and responsibility. Giving also breaks the grip of fear. Fear says, "Hold on." Faith says, "Release." Every act of giving weakens fear's voice. Over time, generosity builds confidence that God is reliable. Confidence attracts opportunity. Opportunity invites provision. Even forgiveness is a form of giving. Giving time, kindness, attention, and resources all carry the same principle. What you release creates space for response. When you give patience, relationships heal. When you give effort, skills grow. When you give generously, provision moves. Think about daily routines. Someone who invests time in planning gains efficiency. Someone who invests money in learning gains wisdom. Giving is not loss, it is placement. You place resources where they can grow. God responds to placement because it shows understanding. Heaven's economy is different from human logic. Holding feels safe, but releasing activates movement. Giving says, "I am not ruled by fear." God responds to freedom. Freedom attracts blessing. Giving also sharpens discernment. A giver learns when, where, and how to give. This wisdom grows with practice. God trusts wise givers because they understand stewardship, not impulse. Daily life shows that generosity builds influence. People listen to those who give value. Influence opens doors. Doors lead to opportunities. Opportunities lead to increase. Giving sets this chain in motion. When you give, you are not informing God of your need, you are affirming His role as provider. This posture changes everything. Heaven responds not to desperation, but to faith in action. Every new level in life demands a new level of discipline. Blessings do not only increase comfort, they increase responsibility. That is why the next blessing cannot rest on yesterday's habits. What carried you this far will not carry you further. God does not upgrade blessings without upgrading behavior, because blessing without discipline becomes pressure instead of progress. Discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. In daily life, a person who receives a promotion without learning time management feels overwhelmed. Another person who has already practiced structure steps into the role with confidence. The position did not create the pressure. The lack of discipline did. God understands this deeply. Before He elevates you, He trains you quietly. Look at money management. When income is small, poor habits seem harmless. Spending impulsively feels manageable. But when income increases, those same habits become destructive. God requires higher discipline because greater resources magnify habits. Discipline protects blessings from self-sabotage. Daily life shows this in health. Someone who ignores basic routines struggles when demands increase. Another who practices consistency handles pressure better. The body responds to discipline the same way finances do. God works holistically. He builds discipline in one area to prepare you for many. Discipline also shapes focus. The higher you go, the more distractions appear. Without discipline, attention scatters and energy leaks. A disciplined person chooses priorities. They say no to good things to great things. God entrusts more to those who can manage focus. Think of a student preparing for exams. Those who study regularly feel calm. Those who cram panic. The exam did not cause fear. The lack of discipline did. Blessings work the same way. When preparation is strong, opportunity feels exciting, not terrifying. Discipline also governs emotions. As blessings grow, so does visibility. Criticism increases. Expectations rise. Without emotional discipline, stress overwhelms. God trains you to respond, not react. Calm responses preserve peace. Peace preserves clarity. Clarity protects blessing. Daily routines reveal readiness. Waking up on time, planning ahead, managing resources. These habits seem small, but they signal maturity. God often waits until consistency is visible before releasing increase. Inconsistency leaks blessing. Discipline shapes integrity. When no one is watching, discipline keeps you aligned. Integrity builds trust. Trust opens doors. God moves through trustworthy people. Without discipline, trust collapses. Think of daily spending. A disciplined person budgets and saves. An undisciplined person reacts emotionally. Over time, discipline creates stability. Stability invites opportunity. Opportunity leads to growth. Discipline also sharpens discernment. Not every opportunity is right. Without discipline, excitement overrides wisdom. God teaches patience so you can choose wisely. Wise choices preserve blessings. Even rest requires discipline. Rest without structure becomes laziness. Structured rest restores strength. God values balance because balance sustains growth. Your next blessing is heavier than the last. It carries more weight, more responsibility, more impact. Discipline is the strength that carries weight without breaking. Beloved, now listen carefully, because this is the moment where everything comes together, where understanding meets action, and where faith turns into reality. What God has been teaching you, what He has been and shaping in your heart, what He has been testing in your mind is not for nothing. Every delay, every lesson, every struggle has been preparing you for the explosion of blessing that is coming your way. You must understand that God does not move in chaos. He moves with precision, purpose, and power. Your breakthrough will arrive, but it will arrive in a way that is bigger than you imagine, stronger than your fear, and brighter than your past. Remember this, your limits today are not your limits tomorrow. What seemed impossible, What seemed out of reach, what seemed too heavy for your shoulders, will become the platform for your greatest triumph. The God who has been silent in waiting is not absent, He is working. He is orchestrating, aligning, and positioning every pie. CE of your life, so that when your blessing comes, it comes perfectly timed, perfectly measured, and perfectly overwhelming. You are standing on the edge of a season that will shock your understanding, a season that will awaken your spirit, a season where money, opportunity, and favor will respond to the faith you have been walking in. Every trial you have faced, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt has been a training ground for greatness. The same God who calmed the seas for the disciples, who multiplied loaves and fish for the hungry crowd, who turned prisons into platforms for destiny, is the same God working in your life. You are not too late, not too small, and not too broken. Your heart is being prepared, your spirit is being strengthened, and your mind is being aligned with the divine purpose that is greater than any challenge you have faced. I want you to hear this clearly. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where God wants you to be. You cannot force it. You cannot fake it. You cannot rush it. But if you remain faithful, if you remain disciplined, if you remain obedient, heaven itself will begin to move on your behalf. Doors will open that no one can close. Opportunities will appear where there was once impossibility. Favor will track you down in ways that cannot be explained. And money, your finances, your provision will no longer be something you chase. It will begin to chase you. Do not fear the size of the blessing, for God is bigger. Han, any increase. Do not worry about responsibility, for God equips the one He calls. Do not question the timing, for God's clock is perfect. Remember what has been whispered to generations before you. Your blessing is not delayed, it is prepared. And preparation always comes with power. God is not just giving you more money, He is giving you more wisdom, more insight, more discipline, more courage, and more character. That is why your breakthrough will feel shocking. It is not just an increase in what you have, but an elevation in who you are. So rise today with confidence, with expectation, with courage, and with faith that cannot be shaken. Lift your eyes above the struggle, above the scarcity, above the fear, and see the vision God has placed in your heart. Walk with boldness, give with joy, act with integrity, and manage with wisdom. Your next blessing is waiting, but it is waiting for a you who has been made ready. A you who is unshakable, unstoppable, and unbreakable. And hear me clearly, because these are not my words alone, these are eternal truths. What you plant in faith, you will harvest in abundance. What you sow in obedience, you will reap in favor. What you release in trust, you will receive in overflow. God is about to show you what He can do when heaven is authorized by your discipline, your generosity, your vision, and your faith. Your miracle is not coming by chance. It is coming by covenant. It is not coming slowly. It is coming as a shock to your understanding, a joy to your spirit, and a revolution to your life. Get ready, beloved. Stand strong. Speak boldly. Act wisely. Believe relentlessly. Your season of increase is at hand. Your season of provision is near. Your season of favor is unstoppable. This is your moment to step into the destiny that God has been preparing for you from the beginning of time. Today is the day you rise. Today is the day you shine. Today is the day that what God is about to do, if your money and your life will shock everyone who has ever doubted and inspire everyone who has ever believed. Your faith is your key. Your discipline is your door. Your giving is your authorization. Your next blessing is your reality. Heaven is ready. Are you ready to receive it?